You guys in the sex office?
Over and out. Welcome to Vintage Burn. This is Kev,
Marco,
and Doug.
and today we're doing a movie review, 2018's Overlord. Doug, give us the synopsis.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little unprepared. I thought we were doing Overlook to Eden, the rom-com. So I got nothing here. So the synopsis: the plot follows several American soldiers who are dropped behind enemy lines the day before D-Day and discover secret Nazi experiments with a French hot lady. I may have made up that last part. That was not in the actual.
We agree.
she was hot,
Yeah,
but I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with guns and flamethrowers. That's very attractive. So yes, 2018's Overlord was released November 9th, 2018 in the theaters. You guys remember theaters?
Yes.
Remember what those were like?
Back in the day.
Back in the day. So box budget was $38 million, and box office was only $41.7 million. So it didn't. I mean, it made its money back. It wasn't a loss, but they didn't make a whole hell of a lot on it. So it's basically like a B movie with a Hollywood budget. It's kind of like Saving Private Ryan meets Reanimator.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
I love the Reanimator call there too.
You love the what?
The Reanimator call, man. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah. That's kind of the whole time. I'm like, they just changed the serum color, but I'm like, it's kind of, and the fucked up thing is a lot of that's true. The experiments and stuff. But interesting fact. We'll hop into D-Day for a second. So obviously June 6th, 1944. So the code name for the Battle of Normandy was actually called Operation Overlord, which I didn't know until I started kind of digging a little bit. So
You goddamn ruined my facts, damn it. That's my fact that I have right here, Operation Overlord.
That's it. So
That's all I got. So anyway, go ahead.
You just got one index card that says that on, and that's it.
No, seriously, like I remember we were talking about how you wanted to get historical, because I know World War II. So, you wanted historical significance, and it literally is three things. Yeah, it's called Operation Overlord, so Overlord. D-Day actually happened, and the experiments on, to try to make super soldiers. So, it's obviously the movie's a play on that. So that's literally it, and Hitler being into the occult is the only three facts of this movie. So I'm going to knock those out the park right away, because that's all there is in this movie.
Do you guys know what Overlord means?
No. I just know D-Day was Operation Overlord. That's what I know.
Like the actual definition of the word Overlord?
Yeah.
I don't know, but we're going to find out. A ruler, especially a feudal lord, a person of great power or authority. That's kind of what I figured. That's what, I never actually looked it up, but that's what I assumed it was.
Yeah.
That's what I call my landlord.
Referring to Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So 160,000 Allied soldiers crossed the English Channel on June 6th, and but 2 million Allied troops in France by the end of August, which is crazy thought. But yeah, like Marco said, there was a lot of crazy experiments. Hitler was a sick dude and had some really wacko ideas, and that's why he's not, obviously. You don't follow his ideals, but his fucking ideas were just so outlandish that how can they not be interesting, obviously...
Him and Himmler.
Him and Himmler?
Yeah, Himmler too, dude. Himmler was a big part of it too.
Yeah.
Himmler was insane, dude.
Hitler's so crazy that you can't even look up his name on Giphy or fucking Apple's GIF thing, their GIF app.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I'm pretty sure you can't do it on the Samsung either.
I try it all the time.
Gonna have to
All
make.
the time.
Hey, speaking of which, today's actually his birthday. Not that I'm like trying to glorify it or anything, but it just
Really?
so happens.
Whoa.
That's
Wait,
interesting.
what? Hitler's birthday?
Hitler's, yeah.
And all right, folks, we didn't plan that. I mean, we were just trying to pick a day to do this fucking podcast.
That's coincidental, yeah.
That is, yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. It's actually tomorrow.
Holy
It's
shit.
tomorrow, yeah.
It's
but
it's
still.
tomorrow. I thought today was it's tomorrow.
Boo.
But-
Would have been better if it was
Yeah.
close.
Yeah, I'm surprised I even knew it was the 19th or the 20th. I knew it was close, but I'm sorry. I thought today was the 20th. But so
Man, that's crazy. Wow.
So he was born in 420. So everybody smokes weed on Hitler's birthday.
yeah, there were a few kids in high school we hung out with that it would have been 2 holidays for them.
That is ironic. That is so ironic. Everyone's like, yeah, man, smoking 420, it's Peace and Love Day. No, it's Adolf Hitler's birthday, you fuck.
I still don't understand what 420 means. Like, I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. We'll have to do a Willie Nelson podcast sometime.
I believe it's like a police code, like a 420.
Oh, okay.
I think that's where it comes from. Like a 187's a murder.
420 is a pot.
I believe it's like a police code. Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe. I could be wrong. I don't, there's
So
nothing
they
back here,
turned
but
it-
I'm thinking it.
So people took it back and turned it into a like
Right, a time thing. Go
let's
smoke
smoke.
your 420. It's 420, let's smoke.
420,
Yeah.
let's smoke. Let's smoke
Okay.
and celebrate the Fuhrer. Ah.
Yeah.
So one last D-Day fact. So I guess there were many D-Days. It wasn't specific to this one, but this was the most popular. And I always thought it was like something really cool and had some crazy, significance. But basically what it is D. The D in D-Day stands for day. So D-Day would have been the first day that the operation or whatever it was launched. Then after that, it would have been D1, D2, D3, and so on. So it's kind of anticlimactic. I thought there was going to be some crazy story behind like the phrase D-Day, but like I said, there were more than one that actually happened. But this was the most famous.
Okay.
So, wow, I'm just Debbie Dougie Downer tonight. I messed up fucking birthdays and I'm giving sad facts.
Yeah, you got me excited as I was like, wow, dude, we're actually doing this on his birthday? That's crazy. But hey, that's still close enough. Like, we didn't actually plan to do Overlord because of his birthday. I mean, none of us, we didn't think about it.
Yeah, no, it came up next on our list, and it's been one we wanted to do for a while, so.
Pretty fucked up. Maybe the Fuhrer is channeling humanity.
Oh, wait, hold on. He's calling in white now.
Could you imagine that? I'm calling in from beyond the grave, yeah.
We're going home.
I'm taking a
all right.
shiza.
He's like, your podcast is shiza.
Your podcast is shiza.
I kind of have to agree with him.
Line.
It's the only thing I'd agree with Hitler about is our podcast is shiza. All right. So why don't we hop into it? So running 1 hour and 50 minutes, rated R, of course, because it'd be terrible if it was PG-13. So one quick thing too. We'll get into that later, I guess.
Yeah.
There was one. Yeah, we'll get into that in like the our reviews. But so it starts out, like any regular war movie, a bunch of airborne soldiers in a plane. They're about to be dropped off in France on the eve of D-Day to knock out a radio jammer tower the Nazis put on top of a church. So, okay, seems legit at first. They're sitting around kind of busting chops, typical wartime shit, they got nothing else to do, so they drag on each other. A few hours later, all hell breaks loose. And I kind of tried doing this, and so I'm not talking for 2 hours. I'm kind of just giving little bullets. If you guys have anything you want to add about a scene, about a part, about a quote, just stop me. I'm kind of
Cool.
just kind of following the bullets, okay?
We're going to do what we usually do, Doug. We're going to
Cut you
interrupt
off.
the shit out of you. Don't worry, it's coming.
Yeah, sweet. Looking forward to it. So you have this intense plane scene. Shit starts blowing up around them. They're getting shot at. It's like coming through the floor, coming through the sides, just complete chaos.
Now, Doug, do you know what the name of the German Air Force is?
Waffen? No, it's a goof stuff.
Yeah, you almost got it. The Lufafa.
Mufafa.
Yeah.
Mufasa, yes. We're saying the same thing, right?
With an L, but it's all right.
Look,
So
the
Lufafa is fighting them off.
I will say this scene and for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
It is so intense. Like I was having anxiety just like watching. Because I think it's because I realized that this was real. That at least that portion of the movie was real.
Yeah.
So the thought of that actually happening with the airborne, like, holy fuck, man! Like just to think people actually went through this shit, and it just insane. Like the rapid fire and like. You could see like the heat on the bullets and shit, and I mean people getting lit up and inside, and like planes blowing up around them. I mean it was just you couldn't get a better 360 view in the camera angles either. It was so fucking intense.
And that's the thing on my notes too. I even have it right here. Love the aerial footage. I love everything about that scene, man. You from the clouds of the background to the bullet holes in the side of the plane.
Whew.
It's fantastic. That's like one of my favorite parts in general. Just I really thought it looked stunning.
In any war movie, dude, that scene alone put like Saving Private Ryan to shame, man.
It also came out 20 years later too.
But still.
Hey, you leave Spielberg alone. He got real body parts for that D-Day scene.
Did he really?
Yeah, he had like intestines and shit. Like in the beginning when like they're all laying there like holding their intestines in, like he actually got real.
Hey, that was Vin Diesel's best movie. He dies.
What movie?
That's the.
I missed it.
Ryan.
Oh, he's in that movie.
He dies. That's his best part. He's done and quick. We don't have to deal with him. He's dead.
Hey, I didn't mind Pitch Black.
Saving Ryan's Privates. Is that what you said?
Different movie.
That's a great movie. Great.
That's what you're thinking in the lines of Harry Twatter too.
Just like the Sopranos.
Not to get off topic, but great opening scene for like a forget horror film, just a great opening war scene. Just the way it's shot because it makes you feel like you're in the movie. And I mean, man, first fucking anxiety for the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh my god, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the cinematography is just amazing and. Yeah, so this got a 6.6 on IMDb, and reading all the different reviews, some people are like, greatest half an hour of a movie ever, and then it lost me, or the story sucked, or we've seen it before, Frankenstein's Army, so this scene is what really drew people in, and that's why I think it would have done, not that it would have done better if it had like a less crazy scene, not that it blew its nut too early, but it was just such an intense scene, and people thought the whole movie was going to be like that. I mean, I thought it was still, done very well.
It was paralyzing, polarizing.
Oh, yeah. So it makes you think, kids these days, they're worried about, the dumbest little shit. What if their fucking sneakers match their match their shirts. These dudes are out there fucking dying for our country at 18, and now kids nowadays don't even know what. I'm not going to go there, but you get the point. So, so plane blows up, breaks in half. Some actually make it out and make the drop. So on the ground, Boyce and Corporal Ford meet up after the intense parachute plane crash scene. That when he lands in the water and he cuts the parachute open and starts getting like that. That's where I did not sit down until the end of that scene. Until he came up and breathed, I was on edge the whole time.
Yeah. And the best part is he comes up, he swims up, it shows his struggle to get to the surface. And then he has to cut through the parachute too, which I thought was pretty cool. And then he puts his head through and he's like, oh, yeah. It was pretty intense, man. Yeah, that whole scene's intense.
Yeah, that whole I don't know. It seemed like it was 45 minutes just because the seconds were going so slow. Just because it was that intense. But so they get to the ground. Those two meet up, and then they watch their sergeant get shot by about 8 Nazis with machine guns, and
which is Bo Woodbine, man.
He's awesome. Woodbine,
he's
such a good actor.
Great actor, man.
I was, I love that opening scene. And I thought too that who's the main character we're talking about that just made it out of the water?
Boyce.
Boyce.
Yeah.
I thought that when Boyce, we were seeing from his point of view while he was coming down through the air, I thought that he saw his plane get shot down, but it was obviously, or maybe it was, but I didn't realize that the sergeant made it out. I thought the sergeant was still there because when Boyce gets thrown out by the sergeant, I thought the sergeant was just kind of like going down with the ship, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, but he ends up obviously jumping too because he didn't have a choice.
And
the plane was going down.
And that's one thing that saddens me. I don't actually know Bokeem Woodbine's character name,
He would have been badass.
But I loved if he like stuck around. You know, like
they made him that like he basically just said "fuck you" to the Nazis. He's like, anybody got a light? Basically, like fuck you, and they shot him up.
I don't know if you know Doug, but
Krauts.
Bokeem Woodbine has been in a lot of movies I've personally seen. He was in a movie called Caught Up that I really liked and growing up, and that's why that actor, when I saw him in the movie, excited me. And then when he dies, he gets shot by the Nazis right there. It just disappointed me a little bit. But
I mean, I hate to say it, but you know, even though our main actor is African American, typical horror, that would kill the black guy first, right?
Yeah, apparently.
They had to have some of the stereotype in the beginning of this one too.
So the funny thing about that is, it's actually kind of historically inaccurate. They would not normally have mixed battalions or groups like that. Normally they have like a African American unit, like a white unit. They would kind of, still the 40s, so they would still kind of segregate it, which is the weird thing. So they throw it in for, I think, a little bit of, I was going to say a little bit of color, but that's not what I meant.
Do we know statistically what ethnic? So if they did that, do we know statistically like what races survived more out of the others? I mean, I know it's not like doesn't matter in this podcast, but I would love to know the stats on that since the Army was dumb enough to continue to do that even in the 40s. I wonder if there was like stats on if they had like, I don't know, like 6 out of 10 of African American units survived and only like 2 out of 10 like all white units. You know what I'm saying? Like I love that shit, man.
I'm sure it's out there, definitely. I'll look that up and I'll get back to you. Obviously after the fact.
Why? I don't know, but I mean, it's obviously relevant, but it's kind of like if that's out there. I mean, it's just data we've never looked at.
I've never, it's funny.
I didn't even know that.
I've watched like thousands. Like by this point, I've watched thousands of World War II documentaries. It seems like hundreds. I'll say hundreds, and I've never seen any stats that point at that. So who knows? Who knows? But it's a good fact. I mean, like I know in the Civil War, they would put a lot of the African American platoons right on the front
lines. Yeah, like Marines basically.
Right, but
the Buffalo soldiers.
Yeah,
dude. A lot of the speaking of that, a lot of the fucking freed slaves, they were like, fuck it, we're gonna fight against the South. They even they got their freedom and then they got on the front lines.
Right, they wanted to
fight against the South.
I mean, it's understandable.
That's ballsy, dude. That is balls.
So it reminds me of the South Park the movie, I think it was, with Operation Human Shield with Chef. Marco, do you remember that?
Yes.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So they watch the sergeant get shot, and now we know that Corporal Ford is kind of means business. He's telling boys, the sergeant wasn't the mission. He's like fucking by the book, and he tells them if you keep worrying about dead bodies, you're gonna be one. In his Wyatt Russell.
Yeah, he's talking about little Kurt Russell.
Little Kurt.
Yeah, little Kurt. He must have been born.
Bigger than Kurt, but
actually, I don't know. They're about the same. I think they're both like my height. I still think he's the same height as his dad.
They make him look big in the movie, though.
Yeah, I think once we get to that point, but they make him seem like more. So the other thing too is the Italian dude that's in the other dude.
It's Sal. It's Sal from Night of the Demons.
Yeah, and he's Sal from Night of the Demons.
It is Sal.
He's a scrawny little fuck. So he's tiny, dude. He's like 5'5" or something. He's a small dude.
Go get your sister.
Yeah, Tibbet's teeny.
Yeah, he's a teeny motherfucker. But Kurt Russell, Kurt Russell's son Wyatt is no. I mean, I don't think he's anything bigger than 5'9" or something.
And anyway, I was thinking too, man. Like did he name Wyatt after Wyatt Earp?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like he actually named him after a role he played.
I think he was probably born back then when that was being filmed or something, or right after. That's like Kurt Russell's like magnum opus.
Well, and speaking of that, I was looking at since we're on the subject of Wyatt Russell, he might be playing his father in Escape from New York, the reboot.
Oh, I'd be down with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but I mean, I don't know if I think he's a great actor, but
Yeah, but what do you want, Kurt Russell back, or do you want someone completely different? At least there's some connection still.
It doesn't say how tall he is, but he's pretty much, it's weird. He's a year younger than us.
Oh, so when was he? He was born in what, 86?
Oh, so he was one before Tombstone.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was born, what was that, 93? My word, I figured he was born around the same time. That's funny.
No, dude, he was born, he's from 86.
So he actually had him and then happened to fucking play Wyatt Earp, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's still as good looking as his dad, but you can still see the thing is, it's weird. He married a chick that looks like his mom. I don't understand that. It's kind of weird.
Well, hey, he's actually born the day after me. He's a year and a day younger than me.
If his mom is Goldie Hawn, I don't know. This could be a pre-Goldie Hawn kid, but I don't really know.
Goldie Hawn?
Yeah, he's married to Goldie Hawn, dude.
Kev,
yeah, same thing. Hawn, whatever.
Kevin, he's 6.
Goldie Horny.
Kevin, he is 6'2".
Goldie Hawn. I call her Horn. Goldie Hawn.
You boys are getting off topic. Wyatt Russell is 6'2".
He's
Okay.
6'2"?
Yeah, according to IMDb.
Holy shit, he's taller than his father.
Yeah, that happens. Happens from time to time.
All right, let's go, Doug.
All right, so 4 or 5 soldiers made it from the plane. They start making their way to the church. And then we have this tense landmine scene, which I'm not going to lie, would have been fucking terrifying. Kind of playing Russian roulette with the ground.
Yeah, well, one of the guys actually like steps on one and blows up, and then they have like the bayonets going into the ground, trying to feel for landmines.
Yeah,
and Wyatt Russell, what's his name in the movie, Doug?
Corporal Ford.
Yeah, so Ford is like, "Oh, walk in a straight line to me." It's pretty fucking cool. It's intense, man.
Yeah,
it's intense. Like the whole like you said, the first 40 minutes of the movie are intense.
Yeah, the military portion of the movie, it's just like, you're straight on your seat because of that.
Yeah, I thought that was a great scene too. Just like that, I forget what Tibbet says too. He's just like the wise ass. Even when he's like scared or uncomfortable, he just makes these like smart ass comments.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. So
did he say that like he's got his pet snake?
Maybe.
Yeah, Sal, Night of the Demons.
Sal, Night of the Demons.
Oh, maybe.
Me of the whole time not watching it was Sal, Night of the Demons. So
loosen your lips a little bit, huh? Cool it, pops. You don't want to blow your pacemaker. I don't know why my Italian accent sounds like Ronnie Dangerfield. It's supposed to be like a...
Yeah.
All right, so enter the sweet French Chloe, who's out scavenging in the night.
The one thing that I was disappointed before French Chloe, it's just when they find the remains of like what they call the jackal.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "Oh, I've never seen a jackal with hoofs." Like, remember they find that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know the part.
Yeah, but I mean, they kind of never revisit it, which is kind of weird.
You know, I had on the bottom of my notes, and I actually crossed it out for that reason because it really had no relevance other than just kind of like a weird, kind of gives you the vibe that something might be kind of weird where they landed, but it's never really proven.
Right, but that's why I bring it up. It's just weird that scene was even in there because literally that jackal with the hoofs never appears.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, like for people who've never seen the movie that want spoilers, to hear it.
Yeah, I keep forgetting this is a fairly new movie too. Usually movies you do are like 30 years old or something.
Right. I just wanted to bring that part up because I didn't understand the relevance of that scene after the movie was over because I expected a jackal with hoofs somewhere along the line and it never happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, I had it in my notes and I crossed it off, and I'm like, well, it's not worth wasting time if it's not relevant. But it's good to be brought up, just for, conversation's sake.
Of course. Yeah.
So this here kind of confused me. Maybe you guys can enlighten me on this one here. So Ford instructs Chloe to lead them to the village where she lives / where the church is. So Chloe pulls some shit at her house, which I'm super confused by. She's trying to figure out if they're pigs, just like the Nazis are. But so she goes and what was she trying to do there? Do you guys have any idea?
I think she was trying to see if those guys were pretending to be something they were not, so that they would get. I think she was trying to see if they were Nazis, like in disguise.
Like So like once they saw other Nazis, they're like, "Hey, she's over here," or like,
yeah. I think she was trying to trick them purposely to see if they were actually on her side. Because they were
All
like,
right.
"Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Here's your knife back. We'll take you back to your village." I think she was playing them because they thought that she was being played again by them. So it's like,
All right, so there, I guess there was. It just, I remember I watched the whole scene like two or three times, and I figured that's what it was, but I'm like, am I missing something? Is there something a little bit deeper? But I guess yeah. So she's just trying to make sure that they weren't Nazi scum.
Yeah, and I think she was trying to see if they could be trusted too.
well, that's it.
She had no idea because like as you know, I know it's coming up later, but she gets, like obviously mistreated by a German soldier, and maybe that's what she was thinking. Maybe the same thing would happen.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
After, and then so like that whole scene, and then with the old woman who's basically
The rat,
the French rat.
lady, which is in my notes right here.
You know, she's just a French rat, and which she did purposely. That's why she like had them hide in the trench, but she did that purposely. And then once they came around the house and she let them in, she's like, "Yeah, I just needed to figure out if you guys were actually like on my side or not."
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss something there. I assumed, but
By the way, she's actually a French actress. So the actress that plays Chloe Laurent is played by Mathilde Olivier. She's actually a French actress, model, and producer.
yeah. She's very very talented young lady. I don't know how young, but
94. She was born in 94.
all right. So what? 25.
26, 25, 26, that range.
Yeah. Good for her. She's very very intense character, which is awesome. You know, she kind of. It's nice to have a little bit of. It's not just a bunch of dudes. You know, it's like a little bit of this. You know, get this badass French chick fighting alongside you. It's kind of. It's good. I enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah.
So they go up and they regroup and hide inside her attic. So on the way up, they hear Chloe's sick aunt. Chloe says she's sick because of the Germans. They get, so now they're starting to get the sense that something's a little weird, maybe between that and the jackal. Maybe they're trying to kind of like ease us into it. So Ford sends a few dudes out to the checkpoint to see who made it. And then as soon as they go to leave, you get these like, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum. These bass lines that remind me of something out of Carpenter, like They Live or something. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
It did it a few times. I wish kind of went like a little more throughout the movie, but it kind of just added that like Carpenter feel, especially with some of like the scenes. So we come to find out Chloe has a deal with a SS officer who visits frequently. Basically, she puts out, or they will take her little brother to the church, like did with her aunt, and then we find out that her mom and dad also got brought to the church.
So yeah, Wafner's basically a rapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, he holds the brother against her to basically get his jollies off.
Yeah, exactly. He went there for one purpose and one purpose only, whether she was willing or not. And so of course, Boyce being the super nice guy that he is, you can just tell. So while he starts getting handsy, Boyce and Ford sneak down and hold him up at gunpoint, knock him around, and then tie him up. So,
but Doug,
yes.
How cool was that light? How cool was that lighter?
Oh, I know. I almost want to see if that's like a real thing.
Yes, that's on it. Yeah, it was cool. And he said, I like how he's like, I don't need this anymore, I guess.
Yeah, it's freaking like such a cool lighter. It's like gold and actually doesn't have an SS symbol on it, but it has like a weird.
No, I think it does. I thought it did.
But it has something else too.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man. It's like freaking. I don't know, man. I would love to have something like that. I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to say that I need Nazi memorabilia, but I mean, it's such a cool looking lighter, man.
No, it's history, and I own a few things. There's all right, we'll talk history later. Did Kev leave? Did we lose Kev?
We lost Kev for a minute, but you can go on. This always helps the podcast move along.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I'm just gonna like scream through the next 7 pages before he gets back. So. JK. So Ford tells Boyce to go get the boys and bring them back. So while Boyce is out trying to find them, he gets chased down by a dog, jumps in the back of a moving Nazi truck, only to realize it's full of dead bodies, or AKA volunteers, as they call them. So now we start to see the real scope of what's going on here. Boy sees all the experiments and crazy tests that the malevolent doctor is doing in the church basement. We got the dude on the pod that he cups open, and he's got like things hanging out of his mouth. We got the.
And real quick, I just want to mention like one part because I thought it was pretty significant. Like before he actually gets into the building, like fully, isn't that like the part where he sees like the body running by and then they flamethrow it?
Oh yes, yeah, good call.
Yeah, so he sees like a bunch of bodies getting flamethrowed by the SS, or I don't know if they're SS, but German soldiers anyway. And then he gets in. I apologize, but I thought the flamethrower part was pretty significant, just because he sees the terror they're putting the people through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? I should have added that in. I think I don't know. I was kind of just trying to keep it sweet and simple, but that is kind of
that is again. That's why I'm here, bro.
So no, that's a great call, and it actually kind of reminds me of like the Thing where they can only kill it with fire.
Correct. Yeah, correct.
By the way, you guys forgot to mention that this is where the movie just went from like a military movie all of a sudden into just straight up horror.
Yeah, yeah.
There was like it just kind of like all of a sudden we like flipped the switch.
It's true. It's true. It's kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
When it's like almost like a crime movie, and then it goes into like a vampire movie.
Yeah, it's a bank robbery movie, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck? I mean, that's the whole point of it, is like, you're like, holy shit. Yeah, and I get it. I don't know about you guys. I understood this wasn't original. I mean, you got like, what is it? Wolves of the SS, and you've got like all sorts of like war mixed horror movies that have been out for a long time, but it was supposed to be a play on that genre already, that or subgenre. But I thought it was still a good mix on it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
It was well done.
I agree. I think it was awesome.
Yeah, it could have been complete shit.
Have you guys ever seen Frankenstein's Army?
I have not.
No.
I've never even heard of it, to be honest.
Yeah, it came out in like 2013. It was very, very, very similar. I think it's even in a church basement too. But it's very similar. Like I said, I always like to play the devil's advocate. Like I really, really enjoy this movie, but it's good to kind of see both sides of it. So it's true.
What did you think of that in comparison to Overlord?
I think for what their budget was probably a small fraction of what this was, and what they did with that small fraction was actually pretty impressive. There was some pretty gruesome scenes that they pulled off, without this big Hollywood budget. So it's almost like it's like seeing the original Evil Dead and then Evil Dead 2. It's like the same kind of story, but just with money thrown at it, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, okay. So I mean, I don't think they're trying to do anything super original. I think they're just kind of, like you said, playing on the genre, and I think they did it very well.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
by the way, actually, just a quick little fact that I learned while researching this movie. Everybody that was in production actually thought this was going to be the new Cloverfield movie.
You're right, because it was J.J. What's his name there?
Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. So everybody thought it was going to be the new like Cloverfield. So like when it came out, people were like, "Whoa! I thought we were going to get a Cloverfield movie."
That's hilarious. Wow.
Which I thought was just kind of a fun fact about it.
Yeah, no, love the fun facts. Ooh, Kevin, you'll be proud. I'm drinking. I went and picked up 2 4-packs from Medusa. Gotta support your local. Gotta support your local Heartworks, whatever the hell.
Just support your local brewery in general, whether it's Ironheart or not, man. Yeah, just keep them alive.
Whether we're canning it or not, just support your local breweries. Keep them alive.
Yeah, I've been trying. I threw like $20 tip. I think I bought $40 worth of beer. I threw a $20 tip at them, and
dude, they're one of the only essential local businesses right now in the restaurant industry that's like really surviving and thriving just on can sales. So.
Yeah, they had a nice little setup. You order right online. You walk right in. The dude's like, pick up. Yep. Okay, right there. There's a table with like, A through L and blah, blah, blah. And it was right there, ready for me in fucking 5 minutes. It was awesome.
That's great.
So,
good to hear.
So it's good. Yeah, it's good to see. You got to support restaurants too. I've been trying to. I mean, we're all doing our part. But so anyway, so we're in the basement. Boyce is kind of going through. He sees the pod people. The French woman's head on the spikes, begging for her life. He ends up grabbing one of this weird syringe that he sees, the scientist or the doctor using.
Yeah.
So he pockets that. And then he finds one of his comrades strapped to the table. He pulls this big needle poker thing out of him, and then they both break out. Where are we? So back in the attic, Boyce explains what he saw. They ask the tied-up officer what the syringe is all about, and he starts talking about, quote-unquote, a higher purpose, like Chloe's aunt, and she gets fired up and stabs him. So they send her away. They reconvene, and Ford wants to go on with the plan. He wants to bring the Kraut as a distraction this time. So they send poor Chase. Chase is like the nicest guy. Besides Boyce, he's like the typical good guy, but Chase is just that naive, young, like he's the photographer. He's just like, and your heart goes out to him. And so they send him up there by himself to get the officer who's tied up. I mean, this officer, this dude, the actor that plays this guy, he's been in, if you look at his like repertoire, it's all like World War II. Like he just plays a quintessential like SS. He's just big. He's got the hair, the facial structure. He's what you think of when you think of like an SS officer.
Yeah.
And they send poor Chase, who's, my word, 5'6", it seems. He's a little skinny thing.
Body, little fuck, yeah.
Yeah, so they send him up there. So the officer plays dead when he kind of lowers him down from the ceiling and basically kicks out his legs and shoots him with his own gun. And then they come up and shoots him twice with his own gun. They all run up to try to save him.
But I do love how in the beginning he's got the camera and he's explaining it. And he's like, oh, it's got the light on it. And oh, yeah, it's got this great thing. And he's like, yeah. What is it? The sergeant or the...
Yeah.
No, that's Ford, I think. Corporal.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah. Can I see that? Can I see that camera? Yeah, let me just take it. And he fucking chucks it into the woods.
And he's like, it's like wearing a flashlight.
Yeah, you're just a fucking spotlight. Like, yeah, thanks. Yeah. We're in the middle of the woods surrounded by fucking Nazis, and you want to take photos of us to take back for, Time Magazine or whatever.
And another thing I want to mention, the fluid that they inject or that he finds in the needle was red. Like a really red color. Correct?
Yeah, yes.
I just want to mention it because the second needle we're going to talk about in a few minutes is not the same color. Well, so that's why I wanted to mention that.
What's the symbology?
Well, the symbology is just, I think it's a different phase of the injection, but we'll get into that in a second.
Know that's not a word. We're taking that from another movie. It's really symbolism, but...
What is that, Reservoir Dogs? You can actually use both, I believe. I actually looked it up once.
That is not. That is from
Reservoir Dogs. Oh, Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
But I think symbology, if you look up the word, I think it's actually a word, but it's just not used that way.
It's like that album from Death, Symbology.
Symbology. That's one of my favorites.
It's a good record.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring up the red liquid because the other needle is a different color, and I'll get into that in a little bit. That's the reason I wanted to bring that up. I was in the bathroom.
Right. Mike's holding on to that one gem that you haven't spoiled yet.
Yeah, I got it.
We're right there, Marco. Just hold on. Think of baseball and hold on to that thought. We'll be there in like.
I got you. But seconds. You didn't mention it. I heard the whole thing. You didn't mention it. That's why I wanted to mention it.
It's kind of like you're about to bust a nut, and then Duncan walks by in a towel. And it just,
that's when I finish.
You just can't climax.
Except for Doug. Yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
I just finished you talking about it. All right, so. Oh, my word. So Boy's feeling bad at poor dead Chase. Gives him the syringe of the reanimator juice, I call it.
That's what I said too. In your notes, it even says it. It's reanimated.
So I didn't notice the color. You're right. It was, now that I think of it, was like more like a pink than a dark red, right, or vice versa.
It was like reddish, yeah.
So all right. So Chase comes back to life and seems normal, but starts to change like real quick. All of a sudden, he chugs a bunch of water, crushes his canteen. He stands up, starts walking around, headbutts the roof support, the beam. Then he gets all veiny, like his head kind of like cracks back, and he's basically
his back, dude. Like he goes back and it breaks. Like you could hear the bones popping, and then you see it pop through the shoulder. You see like his spine popping through, like his neck shoulder area. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah, that was kind of an intense scene. It was done. You know, I'm sure they used CGI and some practical effects, but the mix was I thought done very well.
Yeah, they did a good mix, man. I didn't really notice a lot of the CGI in this movie.
Yeah, except for the beginning, obviously, but with the air scenes.
That was real. They used real planes. It was all
that
real.
really happened. So he's basically a full ass mutant. So Ford blows him away. They go over and ask the SS officer, "What the fuck?" And he says, 1,000-year Reich needs 1,000-year soldier. So, yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah, I have. You ruined that one too, Douglas. I have it right here. 1,000 Reich needs 1,000-year soldiers. Waffna.
Sorry, Marco. Don't keep meaning to blow your nut. I bet a lot of time.
It's okay. It's fine, dude. We've been drinking for a few hours, so I probably would have forgotten to bring it up anyway.
Yeah, that's why I assumed. I didn't crack my first beer until 8:01, so I got no excuses. So up jumps Chase. Again, back to life. So Boyce promptly crushes his skull in with the butt end of his rifle. So while this is going on, the officer grabs Chloe's brother, who's been in the house with them, and he runs outside, his fellow Nazis scoop him up, and they're off. There's a shootout, he gets shot up pretty good. Kind of looks like Two-Face.
He gets half his fucking face blown off.
Yeah, it looks like Two-Face. He's got like so they go back to the church basement. The officer's pretty fucked up from the shootout. Decides to take like 6 of the reanimator shots. Even the mad Nazi scientist was like, "Dude, what the fuck? That's crazy, even from me." He said that.
Right. Yeah.
He actually said that. It was in German though.
He did. Yeah. Got you.
So so that's why it's interesting you bring up the color, like, because at first I thought, I'm like, maybe it's just it works better on living tissue versus dead tissue, like it's like in Reanimator where it has like side effects over if the tissue's been dead for this long, or so maybe you're right, maybe because they show the scientist at a few different points injecting like a few different shots, so maybe he just got that, like whatever stage that was, like the fucked up stage, it's like going from 1 to 60.
And the thing with Waffner is when he gets back to the church or whatever, he shoots up an orange serum, right? But the difference between him and Chase is he actually can still speak and think. He's just angry. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like Chase was just like angry and wanted to kill people. So I feel like the red serum was kind of the first serum, and the orange serum was kind of like the second phase of the serum. Like the COVID-19, what we're going to go through with that shit. But I mean, it just feels like it was just like the next step, and it was a little more controlled. They can make the super soldiers, but they can still obey and still communicate. And that's what I felt like the differential in color was. It just represented like that next phase,
Gotcha. So he knew what he was doing, where Boyce and Chase didn't, and they,
Right.
So the group of remaining soldiers, I think there's like 4 or 5 of them, and Chloe set out on a mission to blow up the tower and save the brother. This whole scene here is probably one of my, I thought clever, like kind of one of my favorites, I guess you'd say. So they use Chloe as a distraction to hijack this motorcycle with a sidecar, which I totally want one of those. Our best friend growing up, his dad had a 1932 Harley. Like army green with the sidecar. I remember, it's funny. My buddy now, he's like awesome. He's like 6'3", and I'm a mean 5'9", and there's pictures of us like maybe 7 or 8 in this little teeny sidecar.
It's very Lepore.
Yeah, yep. It's when I got my first. It's when I got my first boner with Joey sitting on my lap.
Yeah.
Something about the motorcycle vibration and, skin. I don't know. I can't.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? I remember his dad used to take that motorcycle out every Halloween.
Oh yeah.
He'd ride it around on Halloween. I don't know why. I didn't hang out with Joey like you did, but my mom used to be like, "Oh, there's Lepore on his sidecar motorcycle."
Yeah, he used to haul us around and would throw our candy bag in, and he'd ride up to the next house or grab our bags. It was more for aesthetics, but fucking the good old days. I would love one of those though. That thing's probably worth a gazillion dollars now, especially the shape it was in. He was an auto body man, so he kept that thing like pristine. All right, so they use Chloe as a distraction. They rig a soldier, the one that was on the bike, with a grenade in his mouth and tape it.
Yeah,
and then a sidecar full of explosives. So and he's like that. I think they duct tape his hands to like the steering wheel, the handles too. So he basically drives into the front of the church. The officer, starts screaming at him like he's doing it on purpose. Like, dude, my mouth's taped. I didn't do it myself. So the officer rips off the tape, pulls the pin, which ignites obviously the grenade and then the fuse to the explosive in the sidecar, and they go fucking boom. First you see his head go, and then you see it's just explosions. It's awesome.
Yeah, man, it's great. I love that scene. And then like you can tell he's trying to spit the grenade out, but he just can't get it out because it's like too big.
Yeah.
He cannot get it out. He's trying so fucking hard, and then his head just explodes.
Again, it goes back to, it's funny, we go from a war era movie to a horror movie, and then it kicks back to a war movie. Keeps going back and forth.
Kind of, yeah. To an extent,
it doesn't just stay. It doesn't stay fluid in one genre. It continues to fluctuate between multiple genres. Like, it's not like once we get to one portion of it, we're stuck in that entire style of movie.
Right. I agree with you.
Or genre.
Yeah, I agree with you
100%. So like Kevin was just saying, so now you got this kind of shootout. You got two guys up on the hills, basically just blowing away any Nazis that are standing out there or that come out of the church. They're just kind of picking them off. So yeah, you're right. It kind of goes from war to like gore horror and kind of back and forth. It's a good mix. So in the basement,
Yeah, it's a movie I've never seen actually.
You haven't seen Elsa of the SS?
No, Elsa, no.
Brutal,
no.
man.
I heard it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Grindhouse. It's
Yeah.
like a Grindhouse.
I know there's actually real quick. There's a Murphy's Law song called Ilsa. I think we've talked about this.
Have you seen that movie?
No, I thought that was like a 70s movie.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But in the Murphy's Law song, there's a lyric called "If you fail to satisfy, she'll cut off your cock."
Yeah,
I'm curious to see that movie now.
she's like supposed to be in the German army. It's World War II, and she's like, it's like borderline porn kind of horror. It's like porn horror, basically. I mean, it was Grindhouse, right? It was Grindhouse
the original Grindhouse.
Yeah, the original like pre Quentin Tarantino Grindhouse, like not as rated R, worse.
Yeah, back when you could get away with shit like that. Someone was involved in that? Wasn't it? It wasn't. It was either directed or written by like a well-known horror writer. I thought.
I don't. Great movie though. I mean, it's just it's fucked up.
The title's actually Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS.
Yeah, Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS.
I'll find out about it. Give me a second.
I watched it on YouTube before. I think it's still available. You can watch the whole thing in its entirety. You can't purchase it on Apple or Google. It's banned. And I don't know why. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's art. Art is art. Just stop politicizing everything. It's ridiculous. But you can just YouTube for free, I think. Still,
it's a Canadian flick.
Wow, that's interesting. Really good movie, worth a watch. But again, if you're not into gore and stuff like that, it's just early gore, so it's not that bad.
It's actually loosely based on a real SS commandant, Ilse Koch.
Wow.
She worked at the Buchenwald concentration camp. So it's actually based on a real person, but obviously they fictionalized it. Same thing with Overlord, Overlord is based on a real day, but it's obviously fictionalized.
She let Hitler give her a Scheiße on her chest.
And you're right, dude. Becoming a staple of Grindhouse and drive-in theaters. So
yeah, dude, it's worth a watch if you like horror in the vein of Texas Chainsaw. If you like that type of horror, then you would appreciate this type of horror. But that's like, if you don't care for Texas Chainsaw, then don't waste your time.
So I'm going to read this paragraph to you, looking up Elsa real quick. It says, the popularity of the film led to the creation of 3 sequels, each of which saw Throne reprise a role. So it's the same lady in all 3. I didn't know there was 3 of them. The film's infamy eventually evolved into a considerable cult following, with the character of Ilsa becoming a pop cultural icon, ubiquitous, with strong arrests of female authority. The film is considered one of the prominent entries of the Nazi exploitation subgenre, and to a lesser degree, the sexploitation subgenre.
Yeah, sexploitation.
So there you go.
And it makes sense. So she became popularized based on the fact that she kind of became a anti-hero feminist. Like she was like a feminist in a way because she was powerful and had men at her fingertips.
She did, yeah. And you know,
but it wasn't mainstream. So I mean, the content overall wasn't. You know, she wasn't gonna be fucking Ripley from Alien or or Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween. That's for sure.
So real quick, in the pop culture section under the movie, the pop culture. Let me rephrase that because I didn't say it right. The pop culture section. It says New York hardcore band Murphy's Law wrote the song Ilsa, which is inspired by the movie. So that backs up my my point earlier. But anyway,
all relevant to Overlord.
Yeah.
It's true though. I mean, it's it's all relevant.
I mean, it's all whatever, dude. It's just shit that exists, and we're talking about it.
It's horror. It's war horror, right?
Yeah.
War horror.
Correct.
Yeah.
Based on the most famous war of all time.
War horror.
Like the most, literally famous war. The most countries involved in any war.
Yeah.
It's World War II. I mean, like that war is going to be talked about for 1,000 years or more. While after we're dead, that war will be talked about. So that's why it is what it is, dude. We're just talking about it. It's relevant, man.
Did you guys know? War ensemble should be war horror.
War horror.
You could probably get horror out of ensemble when it says that.
So did you guys know that World War I was called the Great War until World War II?
Yeah.
They weren't exactly numbering them like they were going to have more. So there was the Great War. And then all of a sudden, World War II happened, and it became World War I and World War II. It was kind of...
Why couldn't it be the Great World War II?
Too wordy.
But it was a crazy war, dude. We could do a whole podcast on World War II, man. I could go off on that.
I'm still waiting for Peter Steele's prediction of World Wars III and IV.
And that's the one thing that's the one thing about this movie. I wish it had more significance towards the war. I mean, I didn't pick up on anything else, and I even researched it to make sure I didn't miss anything, but it really doesn't. And that's what I was looking for. I know that was what we talked about before was, to get historical significance, but there's really nothing really in it except D-Day. That's it.
That they go at the end, they end up going up to Charlie Company. And other than that, it's just kind of like this little tidbit, a glint in this great war.
Correct.
Hey, we should do Inglourious Bastards just for fun.
Yeah, well, that has no factualness, but it's
no.
Anyway,
it does have facts. So it has based on World War II. That is a fact.
That's pretty much the only facts that I know.
That is a fact. And
I mean, there might be something I don't know.
I still love that shit, man. I don't know what it is about World War I was so fucking boring compared to
World War II, dude, had all the propaganda. The Germans were nuts, dude.
And R.I.P.
And even Japan.
If you've got family that fought in World War I, I mean, R.I.P. I mean, look, either way, the World Wars was shit. We're all lucky. We didn't have to face those fucking trials and tribulations. But World War I was nothing compared to World War II.
You just get to sit home, masturbate, and play video games all
and
day.
Get paid now to do that. Now you get paid.
It's our time to shine, boys.
And instead of Italy picking a side, now they just give you free porn.
And Italy did.
And they did.
They did. And they fucking paid for it.
They paid hard.
Yeah. But anyway, we'll do a World War II podcast later on in the world. In this,
that would be sick, man.
I can talk about that for days. More the Allies, German side. The Japan side, I'm still really learning about. I'm still actually taking that in, but
yeah, same here. There's so much.
I know the three of us here. We're all we'd rather drink and make friends and fight and fucking create enemies. But I think the worst part about war in general, and I think it even goes down to metal and even horror. The worst part about it is, after all of that, at the end of the day, look what happened. Our relationship, we're pretty much fucking friends with all these countries now and all of that shit. And now we're all like, hey man, high five, things are great. But it's like so many fucking people died and sacrificed so much. And then at the end of the day, it's just kind of like, okay, yeah, things are good now. Like all that stuff's washed. Like all of those sacrifices were, I'm not saying it was for nothing, but at the same time, it's kind of like, what's the fucking point? Why couldn't we just all like get along in general?
Because at the time, the regime was just what they
I'm
were.
just saying in general.
I know, I understand.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, we did all that shit. People had to fucking die, and we couldn't just we couldn't figure this out without that.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, there was some terrible people behind those regimes, man, and that's it.
Like the fucking
that's it.
Like now we love, like Japan loves America, especially like look at, they love Marty Friedman.
Wow.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
Well, Kevin, it's amazing.
It took how many hundreds of fucking kamikaze pilots for them to realize that they had to love Marty Friedman? You know how long is down the road?
If you ever want to see an interesting thing about a kamikaze pilot, watch the Curb Your Enthusiasm kamikaze pilot episode.
Wow.
Where he asked the kamikaze pilot, why didn't he die? And then the guy ends up taking his own life.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
All right. It's on the list.
Well, I'm still perplexed. You know, if you had taken a kamikaze pilot and said, you are going to fly your plane into an American ship because someday you guys are going to worship this guy with his guitar, I don't know what he would say. I would love to get that feedback from a fucking kamikaze pilot.
You know, the Japanese have such a specific culture. You know how the whole, like, fall on your own sword, like that.
This dude will sell out stadiums in your country down the road for your sacrifice.
Man,
just want to let you know.
I'm just gonna tell you, like, getting back to like a little more seriousness. The Japanese in general, dude, like even in the day of the samurai, you know, if their faces were exposed, they would kill themselves.
Brutal, dude.
You know,
brutal,
like they're insane. The kamikaze pilots literally would kill themselves for country, for honor, for pride,
honor.
Whatever it was, you know, it was definitely for honor, and it's insane to me that culture breeded like a culture in general can even breed that. Like, I mean, I have honor in my country. I do. I love the U.S. I'm not going to say like it doesn't have its problems, because it doesn't, but I really do. I've been you know, you guys know, I've been to a lot of countries in this world.
Oh hell yeah!
And like the U.S. is honestly like one of the places that I would live, just because based on just how it's run, and I love it. But dude, I don't know, man. It's fucking insane. I wouldn't kill myself for it.
Well, think of all the suicide terrorists. It's like the extremists. You know, I'm sure that was the mentality of all the Japanese people. It was just that certain few that were like the diehards, and just like you see even modern day.
Man, we're in World War. In that World War, dude. That was the ultimate honor. Like man. I give those guys credit, dude. That's balls. That is balls. That's just crazy.
Especially when they could just be like, boop, ejection seat. Like, I don't have to go down with it. I'll get it real close and get out of Dodge. But no,
you know, it
was honor.
I guess the only other good thing that came out of the World Wars, if we think about it, because of all of the, I think this was, correct me if I'm wrong, probably World War II, with England having all of the steel factories, right?
Yeah,
British steel.
That's true. Yeah.
So no pun intended to.
Judas Priest that just turned, what, 50?
Yeah, but dude, it's seriously true, man. Like, because of World Wars, we got such amazing metal bands like Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, and it's because of those metal factories, because they heard that constant sound of metal in the factories being beat down all day long, and it created this sound in their heads that stuck with them. I mean, they've said it in countless interviews, like, they could, in Birmingham, all they could hear was the fucking steel mills in the background all day long. I know that was way after World War II.
It was that far after.
But they were still.
It was like 20 years.
But that's why those mills were built.
Of course, yeah.
And they were dying out. But at that point, like, you know, 20 years later, they were still running, and that was.
And they were repurposed for something else.
Yep.
You know.
And a direct result of the war.
I mean, 20 years after, they were still basically, a lot of places were still in war torn, you know? So a lot of those factories kind of went from the war effort to rebuilding all these war torn bomb cities and infrastructures.
And it's not coming to me, but there's actually still to this day a little village in France that completely abandoned the village and it's left as is. So you can go there and visit it, and it's completely empty with like military vehicles and all types of shit. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I forget the name. I will try to figure it out in a minute or two.
That's fucking
yeah,
sweet.
but it's pretty cool. It's just, dude, it's fucking insane. Like, if I ever knew that back in the day, like, what got me really interested in World War II was when I went to Auschwitz and I saw it, and I was just taken by like you could feel everything there. You know,
Is
like
it heavy? Is
it was heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's heavy as fuck. And they have the crematorium, like the original one, and you can actually go inside. The old ones you can't go in because they blew them up.
Yeah.
But you can go in the original crematorium, and it's just, you can see where they dropped the Zyklon B, and it's just so crazy, man.
Yeah,
it's just,
when
you can just imagine like 1,000 people and they're just getting killed. It's fucked up.
I watched a thing not too long ago. Like it's just every aspect of the Nazis in general, especially like these people thought they were going to like, all right, well, you know, we're bringing you in here for safety. You know, strip down. We're gonna bring you in here. You're gonna shower. Get your clothes back on the other side. You know, a lot of these people like did not know what was going on. It was
no.
Well, look at now. We can't even get through a fucking pandemic without everybody buying out all the damn toilet paper.
Yeah, I still my local Stop and Shop. You cannot get toilet paper weeks and weeks later.
So imagine being held by gunpoint by these dudes. Like, people can't figure out how to do things now. I mean, I know it's a different country, but just in general, people are freaking out all over the world over something. You know, and so we haven't changed that much. You know, we still could be herded like cattle today.
Mm-hmm. And getting back to the movie, though, just as far as symbology, if you notice, there's like 3 or 4 references in the movie to religion. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
With
I mean, from the start, when they're burning all of the
Jesus
Christian,
statues,
all of the Christian.
So it's parallel to like the book burning. So there, I guess that's a parallel I didn't even think of till now. But did you notice that, Doug?
Yeah.
Burning of the crucifixes. I mean,
and that's what they say. They keep saying they're like fucking Nazis. Oh yeah,
always.
Nazis,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's very well. Again, it's like that's why the Inglourious Bastards they do that a lot of like fuck the Nazis, fuck the. I mean, I get it, but Hitler was against Christianity, right? I mean, he was against religion.
Pretty much, for the most part. I mean, he was, to an extent. I mean, he was definitely. I mean, the book burnings were basically Bibles were getting burned and other things, but.
I mean, it's weird though. Like, he was definitely into the supernatural and the occult. Like, I know there was. He had certain like cemeteries that were approved for conception, like of Nazi babies, because he thought that they would possess certain powers because they were conceived within certain cemeteries. There was one mission where he sent to look for the spear of destiny, the one that allegedly stabbed Jesus, because he thought it held some kind of significant power. You got like the Nazi bells. Like we'll have to do a whole podcast just on it.
And that's crazy.
Honestly, if you want to see like some of the stuff that possibly went on, obviously it's fictionalized to an extent, but it's got a reality is like the Indiana Jones movies. I mean, basically what they're based on is Nazis looking for something at the same time as Indiana Jones, and he has to kind of run around them.
Well, yeah, because wasn't he? I mean, he stole valuable treasure all over the world, like all sorts of. And dude. I mean, and hid it. A lot of shit was hidden. They had to go find again.
But for some reason, I can't think of his name. But the head of Luftwaffe, God damn it, what's his name? Big fat guy, Goring. Yeah, Goring. He stole like everything from the Louvre.
He was
in a bag. He stole everything, dude. He was a big artsy guy. Actually,
Marco.
Goring was the guy that literally like he wore a different outfit every time. He was fashionable, and that's where what's the goddamn man? What's the designer that designed the Nazi?
Oh, Ralph Lauren.
Yeah, Lauren, and he would make them literally different uniforms all the time. So if you see Goring is a big fat guy, he ran the Luftwaffe, which is the Air Force, and he literally
hold on a second. Uniform. Ralph Lauren designed clothes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Ralph Lauren. I could be wrong. I'm gonna double check it.
No, it's 150% Ralph Lauren. That's why the SS and were so well dressed because they had a fucking legit like designer, like a fashion designer. Yeah, dude, it was all about show. It was about power and about show, and they wanted to look good while they were. Yeah, it was 100% Ralph Lauren.
Oh my
No,
God.
it was Hugo Boss.
No.
Yeah, pretty sure it was Hugo Boss.
Dude,
Maybe.
look,
Loren didn't sound right to me. I think it's Boss.
in the fact that Hugo Boss was still an iconic figure into the 90s and even, maybe now prevalent. I don't know, to fucking J.C. Penney's. But yeah, dude, Hugo Boss Company.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to give Ralph Lauren a bad name.
Sorry, Ralph Lauren.
Nah,
But
he
yeah,
still
and
sucks.
Mercedes too. Mercedes was a big company. There was a bunch, even some big pharmaceutical factories.
Volkswagen.
I know we off the movie, but it is
didn't Volkswagen is actually made by the Nazi Party, right?
I'm not sure if it was 100% made by them, but they definitely helped them out. Like same thing with Mercedes.
There's something behind that.
Yeah.
We got to find that
But
out.
they're all German companies, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You know. But anyway, Doug, we went way off track.
Intense. Yeah, we're going down rabbit hole. But you know what? This is so awesome. This is awesome shit, man. This is great stuff. It's history.
This is stuff I could talk about for days. Like we could do like a 10-part podcast on World War II. This is something you could talk about everywhere. That's why like a movie I'd love to do one day is Empire of the Sun.
That's why we've lost. We're probably losing people by the second because they're like, oh my God, they're going down this rabbit hole of World War II. I don't want to listen to it. We had to listen to this shit in school. But I mean, there's so much good. Like it all ties in. There's so much stuff. I mean, just think of the music that we got out of it for decades. Even like I said, with heavy metal from England to the U.S. I mean, hell, even in Germany and stuff. I mean, we got so much great music out of it too. But you know, I keep thinking of it's funny. But every time we talk about World War II, I think of Slayer. I don't know why.
Well, it's because they use a lot of imagery from World War II and a lot of German imagery.
Auschwitz.
Yeah. In general too, though, the eagle.
Yeah,
that's a big thing too. Yeah,
dude, the helmet, everything about Slayer. But allegedly, Jeff Hanneman's grandfather was actually on the beaches at D-Day. You know, he's like, I'm not like a Nazi whatever supporter or sympathizer. He's like, I'm just telling the story. You know, like I've seen the shit firsthand. Right. He's like, I have collections passed down from my ancestors.
Hey, here's the problem, man. If Slayer tried to come out, at least when they started to change from the early 80s, they wouldn't even be able to be out now. They would have been crucified by, you know, left media for, oh, you guys are this, that, and the other. They never would have survived today's culture. Never.
It's a possibility, yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah, not the mainstream, at least, like they are now.
Yeah, like there's so many good movies.
Yeah, like a movie like Blazing Saddles couldn't make it today.
Dude, there's just
oh, no way, Jose.
Yeah. But all right, Doug, where we at, man? We went way off.
Yeah, we did.
That's okay. It's good. It's worth it.
So one last thing, Marco. I have a show I'm going to send you on Netflix. It's about this little group of people that go out and try to return lost art that's still missing this day. That what was his name? Gustafa, whatever the hell his name was. No. Who's the art guy? The guy that had the Hugo Boss?
Oh, Goring?
Goring, yes.
Yeah.
So it really gets into his history and how like Hitler basically had like a little division just for acquiring art. When he ruled the world, he wanted to have he actually built it, I believe. It was a big museum, like a big museum with all the stolen art and stuff. And obviously,
yeah. I know a little bit about that, but yeah, send it to me, dude. I'm interested.
I will. I discovered it like a couple weeks back when I had a few days off, and we started doing this goddamn isolation.
I said to my wife, I keep saying it to her, I'm getting so bored of movies and stuff because nothing's original anymore. I really want to see, and I don't know if we'll ever see it, especially with the PC culture. I would love to see a different take on World War history where the Nazis actually won the war, and we get to see what post-world would look like Nazi run.
I'm sure there's a movie out there that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I haven't seen anybody. Yeah. If anybody out there knows, send us a quick message here since we're live. You can just send us a quick message if you know of something, or even email us at vintageburnpodcast@gmail.com. If there's a movie out there that is post World War II, where the Nazi Party wins and takes over the world, and it's good, not crappy. But I have not seen that, and I think we need to see that other side of history because look, Apple just did a whole new take on the Russians beating us to the moon, and that whole take on it is cool.
Have you guys ever seen the Confederates?
Say again, Doug.
Have you guys ever seen the Confederate States of America? It was made in like the 90s, and it was like all these little skits, like as if like the Confederates actually won the war. Oh. And it wouldn't, like you were saying about Blazing Saddles and some of these movies, it would never have survived in today's. It's pretty it's pretty bad, but like in a it's like in a comedic way.
So quick story, like just real quick. I actually watched the Blazing Saddles with Duncan, and he's a younger guy who's never seen it.
Okay, yeah.
And he was like, "Really? They're talking about this? They're talking about that?" Because you know, the N-word comes out, and a lot of references to rape in it. But it's the times, man. It is what it is. Yeah. Like the movie was made at that time, and if you don't see the humor in it, it's kind of like making fun of country western.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing. And so it's kind of obviously it's Mel Brooks, goddammit. You know, Mel Brooks he's the fucking coolest dude ever. I'd love to meet Mel Brooks, even though he's like 93 years old. I'd love to meet that guy.
But comedy always had a place of being able to do things and take risks and do comedy. But they're going to get back to that. There's a lot of dudes like Dave Chappelle's finally rebelling against it, and they're all
most comedians.
They're all starting to say "fuck you." We're getting back to it, but still, I mean, it's still a tough time. Like a lot of stuff that we enjoy would never be able to release now. That includes artists. Like even if it's just art and you're trying to relive something through art, you can't do it anymore.
Right.
Candy Graham from Mongo.
If there is something out there, if anybody knows of anything out there that is related to what the world would look like post, if the actual like Germans won World War II, I mean, I hope somebody fucking makes a movie like that just for sci-fi.
I guarantee there's got to be something.
Why?
There's got to be.
There's got to be. Yeah.
Like their technological advancements and the crazy shit that they wanted to implement, like just crazy, like off the scales. Complete out of this world bonkers. Like it would be sweet.
Hey, look, I'll tell you one thing, man. I'm not going to elaborate because we've been fucking elaborating so much. They had a lot of fucking whacked ideas.
They had a crazy amount of ideas. And I don't think Overlord, the whole fact of like super soldiers.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's like a discussion of like that's a real topic of discussion.
Oh, it is. Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you even look at my notes right here, dude.
We still do it now. They're doing robotics now.
It says the only thing, like 3 things that Hitler or whatever, the German party had in common with this movie is D-Day actually happened. Experiments on super soldiers, like trying to make super soldiers, which they experimented on many people. If you know anything, that's what they did, especially twins. Big into twins. And then Hitler was in the occult. Like that's the 3 things this movie had in common with history.
Is there any evidence that they were actually successful in creating like a super soldier?
No.
You know who's big on the super soldier shit too was the fucking Soviets, man. They were just as tapped but not as known.
No. And they were fucking mean too. I mean, Stalin killed more people than Hitler did, but he killed his own people, so it didn't count because Hitler was trying to take out
everybody else.
He was just trying to take out Jewish people, pretty much.
Is there?
And that's the thing with Stalin. He didn't give a fuck. He didn't discriminate. He just wanted to kill people.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between the two. So that's why Hitler gets,
real bad.
Yeah, the real bad rap. Don't get me wrong, dude. Hitler's a fucking evil motherfucker, dude. But that's why Hitler will always in history be
have a valid point.
Like the higher, like fucking evil person over Stalin.
Yeah.
Even though Stalin killed more people. Like factually, he did.
Yeah,
he got more people killed.
Yeah, but it's because it was race specific. It was.
Of course, yeah, and that's the reason.
It was an ethnic specific genocide.
And that's the thing.
But there's also you could go into the whole like, Turkey and Armenian genocide.
Oh, you can go into so many. There's so many over time.
And then there's that whole there's like one of our friends. I'm not gonna name any names, but one of our friends who's Armenians, like, there's always that like argument of like people saying that the Armenian genocide never happened or something, you know.
Yeah, and then
a lot of people.
Same thing with the
Holocaust deniers.
Yeah, the
I know,
Holocaust
Holocaust
deniers.
deniers.
Which is crazy.
That never happened.
I went there, dude. I seen the buildings. I seen it. You could see it. You see where they sleep, just like in the movies.
Well, dude, and the pile of gold from like teeth and glasses and stuff. Like,
nuts,
those photos are cropped photos. Okay, yeah, they
look, man. I was there. I saw the pile of shoes. I went to the DC Holocaust Museum, and I saw the pile of shoes. And
have you been to the one in Boston?
No, actually, I didn't even know it existed. To be honest,
it's just it's outdoors. It's glass. You walk into these grates. You got like air blowing up through it. But these beautiful grates and stuff. It's nice.
Honestly, had no idea they even had one.
Yeah, they got that in Boston school.
So I guess when things actually reopen, that's a place I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
we should take a field trip.
It's cool.
Because that's just crazy. But I'm sorry, Doug. We're going way off. We're like an hour and 20 in. Let's do this, dude.
We went down a rabbit hole. Doug, what's your problem, man? You can't even keep us on a straight and narrow.
I gave up like fucking. When you went to go and pee or get a beer, whatever you did, I'm like, I'm just going to blow through these 8 pages. We'll be done. And we'll fucking shoot the shit. And that was at like 8:45. And now. So, one little thing before we go on. So, aside from being like, just into the occult, into experiments and all this, that he had some pretty crazy plans. Like, did you guys ever heard of like he had these people, like basically artists would come in, he like kidnapped them, he put them in a little room in the middle of nowhere, and he had them make British banknotes, and he wanted to create an economic blitzkrieg. He wanted to fly over Britain and just release billions and billions of banknotes that looked exactly like the real banknotes. So then they would basically, like, their money would be useless, and they wouldn't know what to do with themselves.
Nah, honestly, that's something I don't know about.
Did you just make that up?
Dude, fuck you.
No, dude. I'm going to say, I know Kevin's just being, like, facetious, but I'm going to say, like, I wouldn't doubt it, man, because he had a lot of whacked ideas, and we can go into it, but this could be a 4-hour podcast based on, like, bullshit. That's why I don't really want to get into it.
No, that's why I just thought that was a little. So now that you guys don't believe me, that's cool. In the basement.
Yeah, we believe you.
Oh, I believe you.
I believe
you. Kevin may not, but I believe you.
I believe you, Paul. Don't worry. Come on.
I have kids.
Is that the YouTube Kids guy?
No.
You guys don't know what it's like. Yeah, I had to grow up real quick. So in the basement, Ford's rigging explosives.
If anybody remembers what's going on, go ahead.
No, it's all right. It's not worth explaining. So Ford's rigging the explosive. Chloe goes off to find her brother. She finds her brother. She meets up with Boyce. They have this kind of romantic moment. They don't kiss. I don't know why I was upset. I was like really? No, like, get out of here. I'll be right out. And like a smooch, Like they've had this sexual tension the whole goddamn movie, and not even like a wink or a nudge or a whatever. So
yeah, they're gonna get together after. You know what's happening.
Yeah. So they go escape. She gets pulled back in one of the tunnels that her and her brother were gonna escape through by this bald-headed Silent Hill mutant-looking motherfucker. There's like a fight. She shoots it. It comes back. She, just like the Thing, she ends up killing it with fire. The blowtorch, like Marco had mentioned earlier, we saw them killing this weird disfigured body that had run out of the place with fire. So we know fire is like the trick. Boyce fights a scientist and kills him. The super soldier, what's his name, Marco?
Waffner.
Waffner?
Yeah, that's the dude with the hole in his face, right?
Yes, yep. So we'll call him Super Soldier Waffner, and he kind of reminds me, at this point in the movie, of like the Men in Black, sugar, water, when he turns into a big roach?
Kind of.
Yeah, it just reminds me. It looks just like him, but he finds Ford, beats him up, and puts him up on a hook in his chest, and he's kind of hanging him and beating him up and asking him the same questions like earlier in the movie. Boyce shows up. shoots the SS officer, but you don't bring a gun to a mutant Nazi fight. So the Nazi officer tosses him through the window. Ford gets down from the hook, gives himself one of the reanimator shots. So now
that part's pretty intense too, man. When he pulls himself off the hook, because he tries a couple of times and he gets hooked right back in. Obviously, you know, like he's trying to pull himself up, like it's a chain hook thing, and then he fails and he goes back in. But then the second time he succeeds, and then go ahead. I'm sorry, he gives him the shot, but if the emphasis on that scene though, it's just so fucking. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I just
visceral.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Ford walks himself. He shuts his gate behind him and tells Boyce to like go finish setting the charges. I didn't get a chance to do it. Pretty much like we don't need this technology on either side. Like I die here. I'm paraphrasing, but so he does it. He blows the bitch up. He runs out. Shit's blowing up, and then we have just like the tent scene where he sees whoever's in charge, and they say, "Hey, we're gonna ship you out to see the C company." And happy ending. No sex apparently for Boyce and Chloe. Which
so I'm gonna imagine that they end up together and they have sex many times and children and
that's what my assumption is like.
So that's what it seems
together.
like. Yeah, that's what it seems like in the movie. But yeah, I mean, man.
The whole movie, they just had this tension. They had this, so you thought there's, not that I'm a big love story guy, but it's like, he's a nice guy and she's this, girl that sees this nice guy and, and it'd be nice if they smooch. That's all I'm asking for. I'm not asking for a straight up rom-com.
Even going back to the part we didn't really emphasize on it with Waffner, at least that I don't remember. Originally, I mean, like he was treating her like shit, and that's the reason shit went down. That's why they kidnapped Waffner. I mean, because he went down. He's against Wyatt, whatever his name is. What's his name in the movie? Ford's wishes, but he did it anyway. And he always had something for her, and that's like pretty much the whole. Even from the first time you saw her, you could see it like in his face.
Yeah,
he's a beautiful woman.
Yeah, and they both spoke French, different French, but they both spoke a form of French, and he
spoke like a Haitian French.
Yes, yeah. We didn't touch on that, but yeah, like she's like your French sounds different. He's like, yeah, my grandmother taught me she was, Haitian. We live in Louisiana. She's like, I've never heard of Louisiana.
Dude, my grandfather used to speak French, Canadian French, so like Parisian French, in the backyard over the fence to the Haitians that live next door, Stanley's parents.
Oh, Stanley.
He used to speak Haitian with that. Like, they would go back and forth. It was pretty funny. And he was just like, oh, I didn't know you spoke French. And so like, yeah, I'm Haitian. Like, it's a form of French. But, it's Creole. But the Creole French was so close, they could actually understand each other. It was pretty funny to watch.
How do you say shutting the hell up in Creole?
Shutting the hell up. Well, I know in French it's "Ferme ta gueule."
Oh yeah, yep, that's the one.
You know that, though. You've heard that. Ferme ta gueule.
Pounding in my head since childhood.
So, Doug, what'd you think of the movie?
So once again, I always have to play the devil's advocate. Even though I really, really liked it, and I just want to say that first, but obviously it's nothing incredibly original or new. It plays on one of the true, like, fucked up stories of World War II. I just thought it was very well done. I liked the story. I thought the characters were likable. I thought there were some good one-liners. I thought the effects were good. They weren't overdone. They weren't too CGI. That would be a hard recommend, especially being a horror and history buff. Well, I don't want to say buff. Fan.
Like you barely recommend it?
No, I really recommend it.
Oh, you really recommend it? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
I definitely recommend it if you are into war movies. If you don't like that aspect of it, then you're not going to like this at all. You'll be thrown off completely from the start. But what I really enjoyed about it was that there was a plot and there was an end to it, and they accomplished exactly what they said they would at the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I like the twists and turns, and yes, it's not original, but the camera shots and the overall idea was well executed. So it's a solid movie.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm gonna say, based on like what Kevin and Doug say, I agree with everything they say, but I think it's cool to see like a fictionalized version of what really like Nazi Germany was trying to do.
yeah.
Okay, so I really believe that watching that movie, it just had those, like, it just gave it that idea, man, and it was cool to see that fictionalized, and obviously the good guys came out on top, and I'm glad about that, even in that movie. All right, I'm glad they did it that way.
Yeah.
But it's just cool to see a play on like them trying to create super soldiers and stuff that actually happened. So it's obviously a play on that. It's fictionalized, but it's a play on it. And I think for that, I recommend it, man. I thought the effects, especially the first 30 minutes, were unbelievable. Like I thought, honestly, I thought I was watching like a real, like 1917 Midway, Saving Private Ryan, whatever movie you want to put in there that was war based.
Anxiety.
I really felt that in the first 30 minutes. And I think alone for the 30 minutes is worth a watch.
Yep. Could not agree
So I
more.
recommend it, yeah.
All right, we all agree on this one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, good flick, good pick.
Enjoyed it, man.
We'll be back pretty soon with another one. This will be posted, up on all of our platforms in the next week, and then we're going to be doing early 80s. What year did Videodrome come out?
83.
83. We'll be doing 1983's Videodrome.
And get ready because I'm gonna do the narration on that one. And
so it's going to be really.
Yeah.
So, all right, sound good.
You narrate, you masturbate.
Yeah, we're going to go and possibly try to sober up. So thanks for listening, tuning in. This is Kev.
Margot.
And Doug signing out.
All right, see you later, man.
Later,
Good night.
boys.